fact that smoking can cause significant health problems, becoming one of the leading causes of preventable death worldwide. Despite that, over 16.6 million Filipinos report as tobacco users of any form. Smoking and exposure to secondhand smoke therefore places a huge burden on the public health in the Philippines. In light of this pressing issue, our group advocates for a smoke-free Philippines, belting the tagline of "Every day must be a non-smoking day." Now, let's dive into how we know for sure that cigarettes are bad for your health. In this video, we will discuss how to collect and analyze cigarette smoke samples, the instruments we can use for the analysis, and the compounds found in cigarette smoke and their effects on human health. We will be basing the methodology on Amores Perez study. However, we will not be using a laboratory design setup, but rather a simple homemade design, so it's also easier for you to try it on your own. It's going to be a bit technical, but don't worry, we're here to simplify it for you. Let's get into it, shall we? The experiment will be done in 3 primary steps: sample collection, standardization of solid samples, and characterization. First, to collect our sample, 15 cigarettes will be lit one at a time. The vacuum will inhale the smoke and deliver it to a container half filled with water. The water will trap the particulates and the other substances in the smoke. This collected material will be our liquid sample to be characterized. Before we can characterize our solid sample, we need a standardized method to collect them first. Remember, water can dissolve most compounds, but not all. Some are bound to remain stuck on the walls of our setup. Therefore, we need to use an additional solvent, which in this case is isopropanol, to ensure that all of our samples are collected from the tube. We need to wash a specific portion of our setup with 5 ml of isopropanol. This process will be done 8 times in each portion to ensure that the solvent will drag all the remaining substances stuck on the walls. As a result, we'll have 8 aliquots of 5 ml of isopropanol, or a total volume of 40 ml of solution will be available for analysis. For reference, here's the laboratory design puffing setup that the researchers used. Its design is optimized to ensure that most, if not all, of the smoke particulates and other aerosols are collected from the cigarette smoke. The vacuum pump collects all the smoke released from the cigarette stick, while the enclosed glass washing flask and porous rubber piece help improve the collection and trapping of substances. Next, here's the picture of the collected sample from the isopropanol wash in different parts of the setup. Now that we saw the laboratory design setup, let's take a look at the homemade setup improvised by one of our groupmates.
So what I have here is a couple of materials we'll be using. So first off, we have the main chamber, which is this box of skyflakes. Don't worry, it's empty. I already ate it all. This will simulate basically like your chest cavity, because this is where all like the air is coming from. And then next we have a fan, this one, which is already attached to a power source. This is from my old computer, which I smashed. Haha. So this one basically simulates your lungs because it has like the pulling power, or you know, your nose, because this one, the straw, will be the mouth. So we'll be attaching the straw into this bottle, which acts as the dissolving place for the smoke particulates. So, yes, you can see from this one, I put this paper cup wire in the 3rd and 4th peg, and this simulates the on switch, basically, of the entire circuit. This is otherwise known as shorting, so I just have to plug this in, and then, as you can see here, the fan is spinning, and now here we have the complete setup. So, as you can see here, that's it. Nice build, right? And now, unless they already talked about it, it's time to go to my group mates and me to tell you about the negative health effects of smoking and the compounds found inside. That's all.
For the earliest years, cigarette smoking is established to be harmful. Smoking has been known to cause a variety of respiratory illnesses, due to the toxic and carcinogenic compounds it contains. Some of the primary cigarette-related causes of death include chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, cardiovascular diseases or CVDs, and various types of cancer, in particular lung cancer. All that, yet the number of smokers increases each year. Cigarette smoke has a reactive and dynamic mixture of over 7,357 chemical compounds. These compounds are the principal source of chemically mediated illnesses due to long-term exposure to cigarette smoke, and are commonly found on tobacco plants. Some are created during cigarette production, while others may be formed when lighting up the cigarette. Now, what exactly are these chemical compounds? The first major component is nicotine. It is an alkaloid chemical found in the tobacco leaf which causes the release of dopamine from the brain and induces a good feeling within an individual. This is the primary culprit of addiction among first-time and long-time smokers. Next is carbon monoxide. Its primary harmful effect is that it tends to bind to hemoglobin stronger than oxygen, displacing the much-needed oxygen from the circulation so that they do not get delivered to the cells. This causes the body to fall into a state of hypoxia, wherein the tissues do not receive the right amount of oxygen that they need to function properly. The third main component is tar. It is a thick, sticky black substance produced after lighting a cigarette. Tar may build up in the lungs, causing lung disease like infection, cancer, and emphysema. It is also the cause of weakened gums and blackened teeth, and the loss of taste among smokers. Aside from these three major compounds, cigarette smoke also contains several carcinogenic substances, like the following. In addition, non-carcinogenic substances like these ones may contribute to the development of diseases like bronchitis, asthma, COPD, stroke, and heart attack, to name a few. That is all for the video. Thank you all for listening.